Hey crafty friends, Einat Kessler here with 12 cards of Christmas, and today I'm creating a card with a resist technique. I have here 3 snowflake stamps and a white card, and I'm going over the stamps with some embossing ink. And what we're going to do is create an embossing, a clear embossing stamps on the card, which is actually going to be kind of nice in itself because it's like white on white, but that's not the purpose of this card. We want to add more color and things like that. But if you want to create white on white, this is a great option. So I'm getting rid of the excess embossing powder. Of course, if you use a different color card, you need to use white embossing powder because the clear just gets the color that is underneath it, obviously. So I'm going to use my heat tool to get that raised embossing image, and it takes a little while sometimes, but it's worth it. I really like the look, how the embossing looks. So you can see very faintly, but it's there. So what I'm going to do now is add a little bit of color with distress ink, with blue distress ink. Of course, you can use whatever shade of distress ink that you want. The reason I'm using that is because it blends really nicely, and if you use a blending tool or a sponge, you can really get the background to be very even and looks really nice. So I'm doing it in circular motions, and I want the different parts to be in a different intensity of color, because I want the shades and the different gradual effect of the ink. So you see that the ink covers the embossing patterns. I've just spritzed the ink a little bit because it adds a nice texture. Once you dry it with your heat tool, you get little dots that the water created. Because this is a water soluble ink, then once you spray it, the water sort of washes the ink away, and then you get whiter dots, and it's really cool effect. So what I was saying is that once you remove the ink from the embossed pattern with a baby wipe, then it goes back to being white again because the ink doesn't stick to the embossed pattern. Now I'm adding a little bit of gelatos. We have worked with them before. You can use a wet finger or a baby wipe to spread the color around. And the reason that I'm adding some gelatos is because I want more color layers on my card. And these are a little different blue shades than the ink and the distress ink. So you get all those layers of blue, one on top of the other, and that's really cool. So I'm just adding bits of color here and there, and you can see how beautiful that looks already. It looks like the sky, because the sky, you know, they're not the same color of blue everywhere. It changes because of light, because of clouds and things like that. So this is what I was going for. I have here a little text stamp that I'm just going to randomly stamp on the card. I'm not even using an acrylic block because I don't care exactly where it goes, and I just want parts of the stamp and not all the stamp. And again, this ink, although it's archival ink and it's permanent, it doesn't go on the embossed snowflakes. So you can just remove it with a baby wipe. I'm going to add just a little touch of green because it all looks too blue to me, although it's supposed to be kind of the sky. I just want another color to be in there, just very little. Now you can see, because the brown ink is permanent, you can go ahead and add some distress ink on it and it doesn't smear. So what I'm going to do next is create a sort of a dry embossing frame around the front of my card, and I'm just going to use my Score Pal or whatever its name is, because this is Martha Stewart's, and what I'm going to do is just score 1/4 of an inch from each edge of the card. So 1/4 of an inch on each direction, just in the front. You can do it in the back too if you want to, but I'm just going to do it in the front. And then it will, if I want the raised part to be on the front of my card, then I have to emboss it from the inside like I did. So now I'm going to take my distress ink again, the blue one, and just very gently with my finger go over the raised line that I created, the scored line, and the dark blue is going to just make it pop much more, very gently, so not to add too much ink around the line but on the line. Okay, see, very pretty. Now my next step is to add a little bit of, just a few pearls among the snowflakes, and I'm actually going to add 1 pearl for each of the centers of the snowflakes. Although there are no flowers, it just add a little more something. And remember, I told you, I don't remember when, but I always tell you that when you add embellishments, always add an uneven number, 3, 5, 7, 9, etc. For some strange reason, our brain likes it better. I don't even know why that is, but try doing it with an even number, and then you'll see that if you add an uneven number, it looks better. So I'm going to add the word joy to the bottom of my card, always starting from the last letter, from right to left. This way I can position my word exactly where I want, because I already know where it's going to end. Usually the position of the last letter is crucial, at least for me. So I don't have an O, so I'm going to take this A and cut that little part out, and then I'll have an O. So don't despair. Sometimes you don't have the right letters. You can create them. Of course, it depends on the font, but in most cases you can do something with the letters that you already have if you want to use that specific font and color and stickers. Okay, so now I want to add a little bit something more, so I'm using a toilet paper roll and some white paint, or you can use gesso, to add, sorry about that noise, just adding some circles here, and just here and there, just to add one more layer of white image or white embellishment on the card. I'm all about layering. And finally, what I want to do is add a little bit of gesso, just to soften everything and to give it a more of a cloudy look to it. Of course I had to dry those circles, otherwise they will smear while I'm adding the gesso, because I am using my finger. And I'm just going to add that gesso here and there very lightly, so I won't cover the color, but the color can show through, but still there is a white layer on top here and there, not on all the card. So that will give it a more of sky looking quality to it, because like I said, you have clouds and the sun and it raining, it's snowing or whatever, and the sky keeps changing the color, and you have so many shades of blue and gray and things like that. So this is what I want. So just a little bit more. Sometimes when you think you're finished and then you see, no, I want to add just that final thing. So this is the final touch here. And I think now the card is finished. So I want to thank everyone for joining me, and I hope you were inspired to get your fingers dirty a little bit and create that beautiful layering card. If you like this card, please give it a thumbs up or comment and tell me what you think about it. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already, and make sure to visit my website annatkessler.com. You have a link at the end of the video. So thank you very much for watching. Please continue. We have a few more cards in our 12 cards of Christmas 2015 series. We're not quite through. This was card number 9. So I'll see you all tomorrow.